Hello everyone, Michael the Librarian of Magic here, finding and cataloging the magical and pointing you to it. Today is October 30th. Only 2 of these left before the end of the month. We're already almost done with the 3rd series of A Villain Every Day for the month of October. I'm going to go straight into today's villain drawing, and that is of Don Karnage from the Disney Afternoon's Tailspin. And I made a drawing of him here, threatening blue with his saber. Don Karnage is an air pirate. He's the leader of a pirate group, and he's an expert swordsman. As you could see, the saber is his weapon of choice in the drawing. He considers himself a bit of a throwback to a bygone era, kind of old school with the way that he comports himself. For that reason, he follows sort of an ethical code of sorts. He considers himself a man of honor. He's a pirate, so he does bad stuff. He's not, quote-unquote, an ethical person or above board morally, but he has a code that he follows, much like many pirates. And there's one episode that shows, Baloo is unarmed at one point, and he saves Baloo instead of taking advantage of him because he believes in a fair fight, that kind of thing. So that's kind of the sort of character that you get with Don Karnage. Some interesting tidbits about the character. He's got an interesting accent that's kind of Spanish and kind of French with a little bit of Cuban stuff thrown in. It was sort of inspired by Desi Arnaz from I Love Lucy. It's kind of got all of those things wrapped into it. Some other references that are going on with this character. He self-styles himself the Dread Pirate Don Karnage, which is a direct reference to the Dread Pirate Roberts from The Princess Bride. That was another one of the inspirations for this character. Another tidbit about Don Karnage is originally, apparently, they were going to name this character Anthrax, and they ultimately did not do that because of the band Anthrax already having, copyrights of that name and that sort of thing, and they just didn't want the association with the band, and the band didn't want the association with the show, etc., so they ultimately decided to change that. The character was voiced by Jim Cummings, who I've talked about plenty of times on this channel, and he has done so many voice acting roles for Disney in particular, especially from the era of my childhood in the 80s and 90s. He's just super recognizable. If you go look up his filmography, you're going to see dozens and dozens of Disney roles. But I'll highlight some of the major ones just to give you an idea. Jim Cummings has been the voice of Pete since 1992, which includes all the Goof Troop stuff, the Goofy movies, everything since then, basically. He has also been the voice of Winnie the Pooh since 88. He took that over from Sterling Holloway, and the voice of Tigger since 1989. He took that voice over from the original Tigger, Paul Winchell. He's the voice of both Darkwing Duck and Negaduck from the Darkwing Duck show, the original. And so those are very prominent. In the Star Wars universe, he's the voice of Hondo Ohnaka, which many people in the last 10 or 15 years would probably know about from the Clone Wars, etc., which is a really fun character who also happens to be a pirate. So that's kind of a cool connection with Don Karnage. He voiced Monterey Jack for a time in Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. He voiced Bonkers in the show Bonkers. He was the voice of Ray, the lightning bug, in The Princess and the Frog. And then another tidbit, just to point out of some of the Disney stuff he's done, and I may have mentioned it in a previous video. He did, in the song Be Prepared in The Lion King, he sang about half of it. When Jeremy Irons was recording the song, Jeremy Irons being the voice of Scar in The Lion King, when he was recording the song, he overstretched his voice, and you can, in the song, if you're listening to it, right after Scar says the line, "You won't get a sniff without me," Jeremy Irons did that line so many times, so drastically, that he blew out his voice for a brief time, and Jim Cummings took over the recording for the rest of that track. So in the movie version, if you're listening to the song, about midway through, the voice actor actually changes. So that's kind of an interesting thing with Jim Cummings. But he's also done dozens and dozens of other roles just for Disney alone, as well as a bunch of other stuff. He's a very prominent voice actor. Very active, very prolific. And those are just some of his really standout roles to me. And he did a great job with Don Karnage here. This is a fun role. He has been a meetable walk-around character in the Disney parks from time to time. It's a little bit rare to find him, but they do bring him out once in a while. And it's pretty cool when they do. Because he's just sort of a neat throwback character. He has a cool looking style with his sort of blue and red jacket and boots and cutlass and everything. He's a wolf, supposedly. So yeah, he's just got a cool design, a cool style. And it's just a character that I really like from my childhood, and I like the show Tailspin. So it was really fun to draw Don Karnage sticking up Baloo at sword point here. And I hope that you enjoyed it. Thanks, as always, for joining me. Thanks for joining me this entire month. I will be back tomorrow with the last Disney drawing for the month of October. Please join me then. I hope you have an excellent day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.